Hey, what's going on? My name's Tim, one of the founders here at Scary Good Marketing, and today we want to talk about growing your business and your audience with live streams. Now, one of the big things is right now, live streaming is no longer optional when it comes to business. It is now really essential, whether you are wanting to do live streams just like this, or even if you have to get on a live sales call with somebody, the meetings that you have in your organization, everything has been moving to online and streaming content. I mean, a lot of schools are moving that way. Just everything is moving to streaming content and live streaming video. And it's really, really important to embrace it, because the only thing that it's going to do is it's going to be able to help you really grow your brand. Now, what I want to talk about is really understanding live streaming a lot more so than what most people tell you, a lot of what people necessarily just talk about. And yes, live streaming does not need to be super complicated, but there are some things that you want to keep in mind when doing live streams. Now, now, if you had been following us, we had been doing these live streams for we have been doing these live streams for a little bit, and then we kind of stopped, and that was not necessarily because we didn't want to keep doing live streams. It's just we have been pretty busy in the background doing a lot of things, and live streaming is something that we have helped some of our clients do, and just getting stuff set up and understanding live streaming as a whole. Now, as you can see, we have quite a different look and a pretty different setup from what you have seen in the past, and that's because we're always changing, we're always iterating, we're always looking at how to make things more interesting, grab people's attention, because at the end of the day, that is really one of the big things that you need to do, because there are so many people going online doing live streaming. Like I said, it becomes really easy to get lost in the sea of live streamers that are out there. You really want to make sure that you have something that's going to stand out and going to get attention, right? Because if you think about it, like I said, with so many people going out there, and realistically, you don't want to end up as a viral video for the wrong reasons with your live streams. You don't want to have that, right? Whether it's for your business, whether it's just you personally. And like I said, a lot of things have moved on to live streaming, right? A lot of people are having to do video interviews, right? You're going to have to get on camera. You're going to have to do an interview just like this, right? You get your stuff set up and you have to do an interview. You have to do online education. You have to do a lot of things, right? And especially when it comes to sales calls and just producing content in general. And I feel like one of the big things that a lot of businesses and just people in general miss out on really comes down to the branding aspect. And what I mean by branding is, if you take a look at our setup that we have here, we did this very intentionally to go along with our brand, right? We're Scary Good Marketing. We kind of like some of the older Victorian type things, right? You know, I have my pen holder here, that's the skull, and we kind of have some of these different vintage style things that we want our brand to be associated with. And when a lot of people do live streams, they just take out their phone and they kind of just shoot it. However, they don't really take the time to think about how they're doing their live streams, how their live streams are set up. They don't really look into a lot of those things, and it's really unfortunate, I feel, because you're missing out on one of the biggest opportunities, and people are seeing you for the first time, and you want to make sure you're making a good impression. And this is something that I have talked about with clients for a really long time, ever since I started in video production. I always tell clients that if you are going to do video, if you're going to do images, anything that you put out into the world, the quality that that has reflects on your brand. So if you don't have the best quality video, you don't have the best quality images, you don't have the best any of those things, it becomes essentially people don't think that your brand is the best, because the quality of your content, the quality of your images, your website, everything, that's what people associate your brand with, right? If you think about Nike, you think about the high quality commercials that they have, the emotion that those commercials make you feel is a lot different than if you kind of just look at like some local commercials, right? Especially, you know, a lot of local law firm commercials or car dealerships, they all look exactly the same. They all, if you see one, a lot of times you end up laughing about it because of how bad it is. And that's really the thing, is those things impact the way that people view and look at your brand, right? So that's really the big thing when it comes to this. Now, the same thing is, like, for instance, if we were on a sales call right now and I was selling you, let's say that I was in real estate, and you wanted to hire me to sell your house. Now, if you saw this kind of a setup versus what you normally see, where, you know, there's kind of a messy background, or, you know, people are like staring down, or all those things that you normally see when you get on a video meeting with people, who do you think you're going to feel a little bit more comfortable with? Who do you feel like is going to be able to sell your house better? It's probably the person that has a better setup, the way that everything looks, you know. And like I said, it really comes down to your brand, right? If you want to have a certain look, a certain feel about you, you can translate that through video, right? That's why everything has gone to video meetings, because people still want to see you, they still want to see your face, they still want to have some kind of that human interaction. But now you're able to kind of take that and amplify it and change it and adjust it to really help you in the way that you want people to perceive you. Now, like I said, that's really one of the big things that just getting on meetings with people, doing that kind of stuff, I feel like has made a big difference. So like I said, anytime that we have a video meeting, sales call, any of that stuff, we make it a point to try and get all of this set up to get on our meeting, because we want to make sure that we are representing ourselves and our brand as best as possible when we are talking with a client, when we're doing any of that. Even like I said, even if we're just meeting with a client that we're already working with, it just, people become impressed by it. People want to know how you do it. People want to, like I said, they start paying a lot more attention to you. Like I said, if you showed up to your next meeting with a setup similar to this, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of people ask you about it. You're going to have a lot of people talking about it. And that's really what you want when it comes to building your brand. Like I said, if you're building a personal brand, if you have a business and any of that stuff, and you want to build that brand, that's what you want to do. You really want to look at all of these live streams, like I said, in any capacity, whether you're streaming to YouTube or Facebook like we are now, or just in your regular meetings. Like I said, if you went to an interview and you had something similar to this, like I said, imagine how much of a difference that's going to make, and what do you think they're going to remember the most about you, or who is going to stand out in their mind when they're going back through who they had interviews with. They're probably going to be talking about you because of just the way that you were able to present yourself to 2 people. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions so far, if that's making sense, let me know in the chat. That way, like I said, I just want to really emphasize this quite a bit because, like I said, it's something that a lot of people don't really think about, right? Right now, a lot of people think about getting on video meetings, getting on, doing streams, doing that kind of stuff. They think about it more as a tedious thing that they don't want to do, instead of looking at it as something that they can leverage to their advantage and really start to stand out right now. Because, like I said, yes, you know, even just a few years ago, if you got onto Facebook Live and you were doing Facebook Lives and you were doing that kind of stuff, you would do fairly well. But now, because there's just so many more people having to get on the platform, not just Facebook, but YouTube, Twitch, I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, even just streaming to your channel, to your website as well. So that's really the big thing when it comes to doing all of these live streams. Is, like I said, if you really want to help your brand, you really want to take everything to the next level, you really want to start thinking about how you're representing your brand, like I said, the way that everything looks. Now, like I said, of course, the way that we have our setup is not the end-all, be-all for every single setup, every single, you know, everything, right? It needs to reflect your brand. That's why I'm always kind of have laughed whenever people do like fitness coaching, or they do like cooking stuff, or they do any of those and they want to do live streams, or even like photographers or videographers or any of that stuff. A lot of times it's just them sitting up against like a plain wall. Maybe there's a few things on the wall there, but it doesn't really reflect what they do, right? That's why I always said, I'm like, you know, if you're in fitness, do you have a home gym? Can you reposition the stuff? Can you show workout equipment in the back? Can you show those things back there, right? If you're a law firm, can you show, you know, make yourself look like what most people think law firms should look like? Right, there's so many different things, and it's funny because like this thing about being able to essentially create these images in the way that people perceive you really comes down to a lot of cognitive biases, and really the big cognitive bias that creating live streams that look this way is probably authority bias, because, like I said, if you're able to really create your entire image around what you do, and if you have it and it looks a lot more polished, more people are going to believe that you're an actual authority in that subject matter, right? So, you know, and the example that I used to give back whenever I just owned a video production company is, one of the things that I realized with that is anytime that I would go to a client, meet with a client, I always brought my camera. I always tried to rig it and put all kinds of lenses and matte boxes and just jam pack it full, make it look big and crazy. That way, whenever I would go to a meeting, I could set it down next to me, and then we can start talking about what their project is, what they're wanting to do, working out budgets, and end up signing a contract. And the reason why most people agreed to the contracts, actually listened to what I had to say when it came to my recommendations for the shoot, what we needed to do, the way that it should be shot and scripted and all of that, was because of authority bias. Because seeing a huge rigged up camera with a bunch of things on it that you may not even know how they work, it put me in the light of an authority, right? Obviously, if you see somebody that has a big crazy camera, you're like, oh, they must know what they're doing to have a setup that's so big with all these things that I've never seen. And realistically, you know, you can go and you can probably shoot the same video on your phone and get it to look fairly close to the final result if you know what you're doing. But the reality is, if you just go in there and, right, if you showed up and somebody was paying you, right, if you were paying somebody a few $1,000s to shoot a commercial for you and they just showed up with a phone and started shooting, you're going to feel like you were cheated. You're going to feel like you didn't really get your money's worth. And what you're able to do is use those things to essentially show people that you know what you're talking about, to show people that you are an actual authority in what you do. And like I said, just think about those things, right? Think about what can you put in your image, what can you put in your live stream to help you do that, right? It's just like if today I was going to come on and we were going to talk about why, you know, you really need to be doing commercials, you really need to be pushing video advertising right now, and I do believe that you do. It would probably be beneficial if in the back I had a bunch of lights. On the table here we had a big rigged up camera and I was talking to you about those things. You would feel like I know what I'm talking about. Even more so just because you're able to almost take like a sneak peek into what we do, right? You can see all of those lights, you can see the cameras, you can do that kind of stuff, right? But really, like I said, you just want to think about those things. How can you represent your brand as best as possible through video, right? Now, like I said, we have been working really, really hard on a lot of different things, and live streaming has been one of them. Like I said, we are trying to stay committed to doing at least one live stream a week. We are going to start picking that up again now that we have a little bit more time and that kind of stuff, and we've kind of finished up some of the things that we've needed to. But one of those is we've had a lot of people ask us, you know, how can they start live streaming? How can they start implementing these things that we're talking about? And really, how do you get a live stream setup to look the way that this live stream setup looks right now, right? Regardless of if you're wanting to stream to Facebook, YouTube, any of those platforms, how do you start getting more polished live streams? How do you essentially take your live stream to the next level, or even just have a live stream that starts to stand out amongst all the other live streams that are out there? Well, what we actually did was we put everything that we knew about creating setups just like this and put it into a small workshop for anybody that is interested in it. And here is where you can go and get that. Like I said, it is called Live Streaming Pro. Now, in this, like I said, we talk about pretty much how you get a setup, a live stream setup, to look this way. We really go more into the actual like camera setups, that kind of stuff. A lot of the things that I learned in film school when it comes to cinematography, when it comes to creating depth, just being able to create interesting images like what you see here. We put all of that into this workshop. Now, it's an on-demand workshop. You can get it, you can watch it anytime, reference it. We have pretty much everything from, you know, gear that we recommend, whether you are just starting out and you have absolutely zero money to spend on any kind of equipment. We show you how you can still get a very, very similar setup that looks almost exactly the same as this one, with just things that you have laying around. And then we do also have, you know, like a low budget, and then we have our pro budget, essentially what we use, you know, the different kinds of lights and cameras, all that kind of stuff. We break down what you need to buy first, you know, things that you probably shouldn't really buy that a lot of other people recommend that you get, that really don't bring that much value to your live streams. We really wanted to go more into like I said, how you create the actual image, understanding those kinds of concepts when it comes to live streaming. Now, like I said, you can go there, you can get it. Right now we have it discounted because we want to get quite a few people in it, get feedback, reiterate on it, make it better, and just really understand exactly what it is that you want to know when it comes to creating live streams, when it comes to using live streams to grow your brand. And like I said, there's quite a bit of stuff that we cover in there, but it's really on understanding how to get this look, right? How to use those things that I was talking about of branding, right? How do you really take your live stream and make it more branded, right? Because like I said, if you look at this stream versus most other streams, it is a little bit more put together. We do take a little bit more time to get things set up. But once you know what you're doing, once you've kind of done your first initial setup, it becomes really, really easy to do. I mean, this entire setup that we have here maybe takes me about 15 minutes to get set up. But that's just because we know what we're doing. Once you know where to put the lights, once you've worked all of that out, it's really easy to just keep repeating the process over and over and over again. So, yeah, so like I said, if you are interested in learning about how we make our live streams look the way that they do, you can go there to that link and you can check out the workshop itself. So that is pretty much one of the things that I wanted to talk about, is really understanding the branding aspect behind this. So if you guys have any questions at all on understanding more so the branding aspects of live streams, like I said, feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, we cover a lot of that in the workshop because, like I said, it is very, very important. It is something that you're going to have to kind of do if you want to start standing out now with everybody that's going out and doing live streams. Because like I said, it becomes very easy to look and sound and be like everybody else. But really that just comes down to you only know what you know, right? And the more that you can learn, the more that you can improve things, the more you can stand out, and the more that your message can be heard, and you can really build your audience a lot faster and a lot quicker. So, like I said, if you guys don't have any questions on the stream here, then that is pretty much it. Like I said, make sure to go check that out. The price is going to be going up on the workshop, so the sooner that you can lock in your price, the better off you're going to be when it comes to creating more branded live streams. So, like I said, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, whether you watched it live or you're watching the replay. Like I said, we are going to be trying to do more of these live streams every Friday around 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So make sure you like and subscribe or follow us on Facebook to be notified when our next stream goes.